it's hard to explain one scenario when there could be literally 20, 30, 40 scenarios and each one of them different. So if you arrest someone, if I come and serve you with an arrest warrant and say I have an arrest warrant for you and I want to talk to you, and then I will read you your rights. I'll leave your rights right then. If I have cell charges on you and I want to talk to you and try to give you an opportunity to do something, I think you know someone, I think I don't want to ruin your career or your life, and I want to talk to you, I can simply talk to you and tell you that I have these charges against you. That you can do something. You know, there's other alternatives, and I'll explain that to you. At that time, I don't read you your rights. I advise you that once I get through talking to you, if you want to talk to an attorney, if you want to get them involved, if you want to get involved with your parents or whoever, that's your choice. But, you know, that's at the point where we're letting you know that we have these charges, and this is the two decisions you need to make. And so at that point in time, we don't read your rights.
Okay.
If we arrest you and try to question you or talk to you further about your charge, we absolutely read your rights at that time.
And just to be clear, they can at that point say, I want to talk to my lawyer, or can I call my parents?
Any point in time, yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
good, thanks.
All informants are done on a voluntary basis.
With your new director coming in, you as leaders and advisory board members, do you have any opinions on if they're going to keep using young adults as informants?
You know, I don't want to speak for Rod. I'm going to let Rod come in and evaluate this. I'm going to let Rod look at it, see if there's alternatives in way we charge people. He has a vast more knowledge than I do. I did it for several years, so we're going to let him look at that and advise us of it. I would assume that when you young adults, you know, it's a tragedy that these things happen, and we wish they didn't happen. And I've seen lives ruined. I've seen family ruined. Had it affect my family. I don't think there's anyone probably in this room that hadn't had that affected. I don't know how you get out without having an informant basis, and how you could say, you know, they put this on students, and it was really focused on young students. But what do we do about the young men or women who aren't students? I mean, we've got to treat everybody the same. We can't focus that this is a young man or woman that's at the University of Virginia and Ole Miss. We have to say this is just a young man or woman that's made a mistake, and we got to try to do the best we can by them. We don't have the luxury of doing a lot of things. Unfortunately, we have certain tools that we use, and those are the tools that we have. We're going to look to see if we're using all the tools. If there's more options, I think Rod can bring that in and give us a new perspective. He worked here years ago as an MBN agent, so maybe he can come in and look at some new things that we haven't done, give us a fresh pair of eyes, and we're going to consider all the recommendations that he has when he does that.
Now, the 60 Minutes case addressed a lot of worst-case scenarios.
Right.
Has there been anything like that around here?
To my knowledge, so I don't want to say there haven't. Scott's in this room. We've never had anyone killed or injured doing that.
I don't have exact quotes, but 60 Minutes report essentially said that coercing people into being confidential informants creates felons by having them make friendly buys from people who had never before been dealers. And I've heard since then that exact same complaint from somebody who was directly related to the Metro Narcotics case. What's the justification of essentially turning a misdemeanor level offender into a felon?
I don't know how to follow that. Can that happen? Yes, sir. I'm sure that it can, and it has happened. Is that what we look for? No, sir. What we should do is do better jobs so that person, if it was a one-time deal and that person's not a seller, that drug unit should do a better job of doing what we call intel buys, researching, investigating to find out that these people are friends if this happens. I'm sure that it has happened. I'm not going to be naive and sit here and tell you that would never happen in the course of drug unit. I'm sure it has happened. That's the problem. You know, that's the lesson to be learned. If we can learn a lesson from this and anything, is simply don't stay away from drugs. And you know, the 60 Minutes looked like it was really a ploy to like legalize marijuana. And I'm not saying that I'm for or against that. I'm just saying that the laws that we have currently say that that's illegal. And those are the things that probably ought to be changed and talked about above our pay grade. So But to answer your question the best I can, we don't want that. That's not our problem, to catch somebody that's out here that's a stoner or smokes a bud every now and then. That is absolutely not what we want. But when we can't, I can't tell you, I'd have to pull stats how many times the police department's writing tickets for possession in a car or possession. These people never become an informant, or they just face their charges. So that's kind of a myth. I
Don't
would
buy
think.
drugs, don't use drugs, don't sell drugs. You'll never hear from Metro Narcotics. It's that simple.
What steps do you take
Anything
to,
else?
what steps do you take to protect your informants or people you have going in?
Well, some of them I can't get into because it would be, if I told you what we did to protect them, then we would, well, we talk to them about, so some of the basic things, if you wanted to work, here's the best thing, is that you have to be careful who you talk to. You're in a world where a lot of people do drugs, so the more people that you tell, the more chance you got of being someone finding out what you're doing. They go through a long checklist that they have to go through of kind of the do's and don'ts. You can't buy drugs, you can't sell drugs, you're not an agent, you're not a police officer. Don't partake in different stuff, stop using these things. So there's a long thing that they have to do, and then there's a process that we talk to that's lengthy that we talk about if we do a buy, where we go and what we do. We do everything possibly that we know. Maybe we don't do, maybe there's more things that we can do. I think we've been pretty successful, and luckily we, by the grace of God and hopefully by good police work, we hadn't had anyone that's gotten hurt doing this. Drugs is it's a bad life. I don't know what else to tell you. It ruins lives on every end of it.
And it affects our community and others in a great way. And we have numbers of arrests, and if you look at the number of complaints versus the number of arrests made, it's a big discrepancy. I mean, we're not going to get it right every time, but when we get it wrong, we want to fix it.